Electric vehicle mandates and copper mining bans are mutually exclusive. The eco-terrorists demand electric vehicle mandates, like, oh, we need to be all electric by 2030. Like you've heard it like a million times, right? And then at the same time, they prohibit all this environmentally destructive mining that's necessary to create the electric vehicles they're mandating. These idiots are operating 100% on emotion, and it's just virtue signaling. Why does anyone take them seriously? These are not serious people. They are literally fucking clowns. You need to treat them like clowns. As global governments push for a rapid transition to electric vehicles and to wind and solar power, they're creating a demand for copper that threatens to undermine the very goals they seek to achieve. According to a recent International Energy Forum report, electrifying the global vehicle fleet would require opening 55% more new copper mines than are already needed. And twice the total amount of copper that has ever been mined throughout of human history over the next 3 decades. Global demand for copper is expected to double by 2035. Oh, and yet, no, we can't have those copper mines. They destroy the environment. That gives an advantage to China because it controls 44% of the world's refined copper supply, more than 6 times the next biggest supplier. But even with all of China's copper, the world is still falling short. Oh, no, this will give another advantage to China as well. As the West, and this is another way, like the West is just giving everything to China on a silver platter. They will ban more copper mining because it'll save the environment or something. And then China is just going to open up a new copper mine and they're going to have a monopoly on the whole fucking supply. And then the U.S. is going to cry about it, like, oh, man, you shouldn't buy Chinese copper. Like, what about American copper? Oh, we don't make it anymore. Well, good luck making those electric vehicles without it. Yeah, they're literally giving the whole industry to China on a silver platter, like they did with thorium reactors. The recent attempted merger between mining giants BHP and Anglo American highlights that the growing demand for copper. BHP, one of the world's largest mining companies, won Anglo American's $35 billion in copper assets, but failed in 2 merger attempts, the latest for $50 billion. Professor Adam C. Simon of the University of Michigan, one of the authors of the National Energy Forum report, argues that mining should be recognized as essential and exploration and responsible copper mine development strongly encouraged. I mean, I'm also all for leaving it like it is just so we don't meet their fucking deadlines, just so we can laugh at them. And since copper is a core component in electronics, raising the cost of copper makes it far more difficult for developing areas of the world to access energy. Copper is a crucial component in electric vehicles. A typical electric vehicle requires nearly 200 pounds of copper, or about 4 times the amount needed for a combustion engine vehicle. The energy industry is facing government mandates for wind and solar. A typical 3-megawatt wind turbine requires 9 tons of copper, more than the weight of a school bus. Wind power requires more than 7 times the amount of copper to produce the same amount of energy that natural gas or coal does, or 5 times the amount of copper as nuclear power. The United States, the world's second largest copper producer just 20 years ago, now accounts for 6% of the global copper production. Despite an estimated 890 million tons of reserve, or about 400 times our annual consumption, America now faces significant hurdles in expanding its copper production due to regulatory obstacles and social opposition. Oh, I look forward to all these eco-terrorists who socially oppose this, losing power and everything else, and then crying about it. That's what you wanted. And while the U.S. copper production has declined 8% since current year minus 23, China has increased production threefold and produces 55% more copper than America. Only 55%? They could do better than that. The National Energy Forum report states mine permit applications have been canceled in Alaska, Minnesota, and Panama, delayed in Arizona, and substantial acreage has been removed from exploration in Minnesota. In April, the Department of Interior failed to approve the 211-mile Amber Road project in Alaska. It would have opened new areas to copper mining and other resource development. In current year minus 2, Puppet Brandon canceled the lease renewal for a new copper mine in Minnesota. All while demanding that we should be all electric by like 2050 or whatever. Yeah, good luck with that, dumbass. I guess the plan is we're going to buy the copper at a premium from China. The Resolution Copper Project in Arizona, which would be the largest copper mine in North America, producing 500,000 tons per year, is stalled, even though Congress approved it in current year -10. No, and this is actually this. They play the same games with oil drilling. That's why a lot of these energy companies, like they don't even apply for permits to drill in certain areas anymore, because the government will play these games with them. Like they'll tentatively approve them and then just sit on the paperwork forever, never advancing it. And eventually the companies just they learn and they go somewhere else. Policymakers pushing for a rapid shift to electric vehicles and renewables are also responsible for the red tape in mining for critical minerals. Without more mining, the planned electric vehicles won't be built. Even Chinese critical materials won't get America all the way to its electric vehicle targets. No, I can guarantee you, China knows this. Like they know that all of these bullshit policies are going to cause a spike in demand. So they're probably going to up their production to meet the American demand and then charge us like 3 times as much for it. They're allowing the U.S. copper mining industry to respond to market demand with increased copper supplies. Failure to address mandates for vehicles and constraints on mining will worsen the looming copper shortage, causing higher energy prices and related burdens for Americans. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, man. I guess the plan now is they're just going to kick the can down the road. Now, things are changing, though. I wouldn't be surprised if the EU's mandates are start getting rolled back more and more since reasonable people finally won their elections there.